Hi students, welcome back to the next part of this quadratic application question video. Okay, so this question is found in your chapter 1.5 notes. So we'll quickly go through this question. So this question says that a full tank contains 2000 liters of water, all right, and a small pump can empty water from this tank at a rate of X liters per minute. Okay, so for this question, you need to understand what does this statement means. Okay, rate of X liters per minute. So it means that for every X liter, it takes 1 minute to drain this amount of water, right, from the tank. Okay, so if we were to work this out, okay, what would be the time taken for 1 liter? Okay, so all you need to do is to divide by X on both sides. Okay, so if X liter takes 1 minute, 1 liter would just take 1 over X minute. Okay, X is a variable in this case. Alright, so the question wants you to write down an expression in terms of X for the number of minutes that the pump, which is this small pump over here, right, would take to empty the tank. So if the tank contains 2000 liters of water, right, all you need to do is to multiply both sides by 2000, and then you'll be able to calculate the number of minutes taken for the pump to empty the tank. Alright, so that would be 2000 over X. Alright, so please also remember to include your units. Okay, for part 2, similarly, a large pump can empty water from the tank at a faster rate. In this case, this tank can empty water at X plus 100 liters per minute. Alright, so the question wants you to find the time taken for this large pump to empty the full tank. Okay, so if you were to apply the same logic as part 1, okay, you know that X plus 100 liters takes 1 minute. 1 liter would then take 1 over X plus 100 minutes. Okay, so if we are talking about the same tank contains 2000 liters. So 2000 liters, I will need to multiply by 2000. Okay, so that will be 2000 over X plus 100 minutes. Okay, so that's the time taken for the larger pump to empty the tank. Alright, so we are done with part A and part B. So now let's look at part C. Okay, so part C tells us that the time difference to empty the tank using the small pump and the large pump is 20 minutes. Okay, so you think about it in a logical manner, right? You have two fractions over here. Let me highlight in green, right? We have 2000 over X, 2000 over X plus 100. Okay, so we need to first determine which fraction is larger, right? So the larger the fraction, it means the smaller the denominator, vice versa. If the denominator is smaller, the fraction will be larger. Okay, so if you compare X versus X plus 100, which is the smaller one? Okay, clearly the smaller one is X. Okay, so if X is the denominator is smaller, right, it means that the time taken would be longer. Okay, so that means the time taken for the smaller pump is longer than the time taken for the larger pump. Okay, so the difference between the two pumps timing, right, would then be equals to 20 minutes. Alright, so how do I write down the equation? Okay, expression for time taken by smaller pump, subtract the time taken for larger pump equals to 20. Next, what do we do, right? As what we have done previously, in order to simplify and combine the fraction, we need to multiply the first fraction by the denominator of the second. So multiply X plus 100, and then same for the second fraction, multiply by X for both numerator and denominator. Okay, so then we will combine the fraction like that. Okay, so using rainbow method, we would expand in the terms to simplify them. Okay, then we notice that 2000x cancels out. Okay, leaving me with 200,000 in the numerator over x squared plus 100x equals to 20 over 1. Okay, so that is where we start to cross multiply. Okay, then we would have 200,000 equals to 20 multiplied by the denominator. Okay, so that's how I get my 20x squared plus 2000x. Okay, then I would subtract 200,000 on both sides, so minus 200,000. Okay, that leaves me with 0 on one side and a quadratic equation like this. Alright, so we look back, the question wants us to solve the equation, it wants us to show the equation. Okay, coefficient of x squared is equals to 1. Alright, so all we need to do is to divide by 20 on both sides. Oops, let me get this out of the way first. Divide by 20, right? So that leaves us with x squared plus 100x minus 10,000. Okay, so that's all for part C. Part D, in order to solve the quadratic equation, I would need you to use the quadratic formula as per normal, and you should be able to get the two different x values in this case.